Welcome to West Virginia Sports Connection. We're back again, coming to you from Adelphia Sports Bar and Grill for our second season. Carl was gracious enough to come back with me, and we have returning guests. They're actually the first guest that we shot the pilot for this show with, from the West Virginia State University football program, head coach John Pennington, running backs coach Quincy Wilson. Guys, thanks for coming back.
Yeah, thanks for having us, man. We've been on here a couple times. This is just a fun night catching up with you guys.
First thing I want to talk about is your program. Big win against Frostburg. Comeback win by really your seniors were the ones that led the way. At 1-0, how good can your team be? Where do you see the season going?
Well, I mean, you make the biggest improvement from week 1 to week 2, and 1-0 is exactly where we want to be. But there was a lot of big mistakes on that field on Thursday night that we're trying to correct here moving forward. So, we're excited to get the win. I think our team, if you were at the game, you saw the mindset of the team. They were never fazed by any of the penalties or bad plays. They were constantly picking each other up, believing in each other and moving forward in everything that they did. And that was probably the most encouraging thing that Quincy and I saw was the foundation looks great. But we got to build the house a little sturdier, so we take care of the football and do some things on offense. We moved the ball, just couldn't get a lot of points out of it. So if we can correct the execution part and keep that mental toughness, then there's no telling how far we can go. So we got to make some improvements this week.
Have coached at West Virginia State, Quincy. I understand when he's talking about the foundation, because everybody who's been there before has always tried to get that foundation, because usually what happens in programs, you do have a ton of mistakes, you falter when you're behind, you do all these kind of things, you see the demeanor of the whole team just kind of drop when you get behind, and you just quit. I played on some Marshall teams that you could see it happen. For whatever reason, you guys have gotten that foundation. Where does that go now? Like I know you're talking about build the house, but tell people kind of what does that do? How do you get to that next level?
It's taken 3 years.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where you never know if you're doing the right things or getting them up early, just that until a game like that.
Right.
And you sit back and you're like, well, yeah, this is what it is. This is we're doing the right thing. Our guys were tough. And like Coach said, we have the toughness down. Now let's be a little more fundamentally sound, and then we're really going to take off. So went up there and played at Frostburg. They were playing the game of their lives. It's the first time they were playing D2 football, so that was their bowl game.
Right.
They've been waiting for this since they made the announcement last year. So their coaches did a great job of, hey, this is our game, this is our game, this is our game. Luckily, we made a lot more plays than they did, but it still came down to grittiness and toughness. So it's one of those things where, like we say, we look at each other and we're like, yeah, we're on the right track. But now let's really fine tune what we're doing so we can go ahead.
And you can build from this. I mean, this is one of those games that, at halftime of another game that you're behind, you're like, hey guys, we've been here before.
Right.
Yeah.
We just have to now just go out and just play.
Right.
Yeah, and the reality is the conference is so even. There's going to be dogfights every week. There are going to be battles, and the team that wants it more, the grittier team, is going to come out on that the majority of the time. So as long as we can, execute at a decent level, we're going to be in every single game. And if we can find a way to win those close ones, we're going to win a lot more than we lose. And as far as building on it, you know what I mean. Like you said, with that strong foundation, it makes it a little easier. You know what I mean? That they're excited about a gritty win now. Right. Whereas before, like you said, you're waiting on the ceiling to fall in. On those teams.
In that situation,
you're just like, when's it coming?
Yeah.
And this time it was the opposite. It was like, we're going to win. When's the big play coming? 2 fumbles on the goal line. That's all right. Defense will going to stop, but we're going to eventually score and win this game. It was kind of the opposite feeling, and I don't know. Me and Quincy were like, we haven't had that feeling since we've been there, and you hope maybe just you hope it's more than a one-time thing.
Well, let's don't underplay that, because State has had that issue. I mean, I coached sometimes and we came back, but this is a little bit, to me, this feels a little bit different than the times from my time to you guys now. It seems a little different to me. It just feels different. It looks different, and it seems like you guys have really started to really now maybe just putting on the final touches,
Oh, yeah.
the door
Yeah.
handle and all that to the house. That's what it looks
our
like
guys
to
are
me.
battle tested, and I'm a firm believer
Yeah.
that everyone's like the kids are different. This, that. No, these kids want to learn. These kids want to
Yeah.
be coached.
Yeah.
We've done a good job of getting kids that want to be coached. We look for that in recruiting. We talk to the coaches. We talk to teachers. We're not just bringing, this guy can run a 4.4. Okay, what kind of kid is he? Does he love football? Can he play hard? For 4 quarters. So that's the kind of stuff we're getting. And then when you get those kids, again, it becomes getting the execution down and getting our system down. Once they do, we'll be ready to take off. Building on week to week.
Late in that game, you were down and they had a goal line stand. So is that what you're talking about? Is that where your guys just it didn't faze them? I mean, they didn't. Did you have to say anything? Did you give any kind of motivation? Was it just like Carl said? Was it the foundation that you built? Because that's kind of big. With I think 4 minutes to go, you're down and they stopped you on the goal line.
We do a lot of mental toughness. I mean, we show them videos. We talk a lot. We have a saying called "keep chopping," and no matter what happens on the field or on the scoreboard, we don't look at it. We just keep chopping, knowing that tree's eventually going to fall down. You could look on the field and you saw guys just doing this. I mean, the whole game and bad calls or perceived bad calls. And one of our true freshman quarterback, we put him in to run the ball some. He's one of the ones that fumbled on the goal line, and there was no one yelling at him. They were picking him up like, "Hey, we're going to need you. You know what I mean? Get ready to go again." And that kind of stuff you see, and you're like, man, this stuff's actually working. 3 years of just constantly telling them that you can't worry about the scoreboard. It's the next play is the only one that matters. And our coaching staff does a great job of just hammering that home. And our guys, that's just part of who they are now.
How satisfying is that? I mean, you like you said, you've been building this thing for 3 years, and they picked the kid up that fumbled, and you go and you win. I mean, do you just sit back on the bus and be like, all right, we're I don't want to say we've arrived, but there's definitely progress there.
I just know for me, two of my guys were one of the guys that put the balls on the ground, and they both text me like, "Coach, I'm sorry, I'm this and that," and I have never had that since I've been here 3 years, and that tells me, number one, they care, and two, that they get it. That they feel every time they want to be held accountable for their teammates, and we've done a great job of making it about your team, not about you. It's about the West Virginia State, not about the number or the last name on your back.
Did you guys watch Mac Brown the other night? And talk about how he's just trying to be grateful this time around. That's kind of how I felt this season in our staff. I'm like, let's enjoy the season. Every win, we better enjoy it. And I knew when we watched the film, we weren't going to enjoy it. So Saturday night, I really tried to just embrace it. Our new O-line coach hadn't won a game, and he was 0 for last year, so we got him off the snide. That was Austin Hensley's first win as a starter at West Virginia State. He played, the gutsiest performance that we've had at quarterback. I mean, it was unbelievable how he played. So, I try to enjoy the moment because it's easy to get wrapped up in what you didn't do right.
Right.
So we're really trying to, I don't take any wins for granted. A college football win, Quincy says that all the time, and helps get me up when I'm down about, we shouldn't have fumbled. He's like, a win's a win, and we have to do that with each other sometimes.
Well, that's one of the things that I talk all the time about.
Carl, I'm going to cut you. I'm going to cut you off right there. Give it a second. We got to go to commercial break. We'll come right back.
Funding for West Virginia Sports Connection provided by West Virginia State University, The Barnes Agency, Spriggs Distributed, Tony the Tailor, West Virginia's finest men's store, Paul Corey, CPA and Associates, Hendrickson and Long.
It's fall here at Tony the Tailor. No one in the Mid-Atlantic does men's clothing like Tony the Tailor. Best selection of quality sportswear from Johnny O, Brax, and Ledbury. Huge shoe department featuring Cole Haan and DiBianco. Jackets and suits from Hickey Freeman, Samuelson, and Talia. And, of course, free alterations by Master Tailors. Tony the Tailor, 822 Virginia Street, downtown Charleston, or online at bestmastertailor.com.
Welcome back to West Virginia Sports Connection. We are coming to you from downtown Charleston, the Adelphia Sports Bar and Grill, joined by running backs coach Quincy Wilson and head coach John Pennington from the West Virginia State University football program. Carl, My apologies, my man.
That's
I cut
all
you
right.
off. Go
Gotta
ahead,
get in,
go
gotta
break.
get out.
But what were you about to ask?
I was just Arnett Huston. I was talking to him today, and we were talking about football, and one of the things he said, he was watching a game, and Pete, and I play for Pete Carroll, and I like to throw that out there because that's a meaningful thing to me. But one of Pete's things was like you're always going to get beat, you're always going to do something wrong, and the key isn't that you do it wrong. Like, do you know why you did it?
Yeah.
Like, and as a defensive back, like, no defensive back wants to get beat. So Pete's thing was he'd come by and say, what happened? Oh, I did this, I did that, didn't do this, all right, let's just go. And that, I had never been coached like that. I'm the yelling and screaming guy, somebody's in my face and all that. And I was like, man, if I ever get a chance to coach, that's how I'm going to coach. And I think it is easier because anybody who's played the game, you're going to fumble, you're going to throw an interception, you're going to do that. The idea of just saying, like, do you know the mistake that you made?
Right.
We can learn from that and go from there.
That's pretty cool. Speaking of mistakes, I don't know if this is going to be a mistake, but we're going to go into, John, you call it the hot take, the hot topic of the day, Antonio Brown. I mean, anybody that knows me, Carl knows, I'm a huge Steeler fan. When all that mess went down, we talked about Le'Veon Bell last year, and it really wasn't Antonio Brown until the late part of the season. But my take on this situation is something was going on behind the scenes. This was a designed situation. I mean, I don't know how tampering isn't coming into play, and how do the Raiders just let him go after they've already given enough draft picks? I mean, just go. You guys go run with this. Because it's driving me nuts.
It does have that feel to it, but I think when you got a guy like that in your program, college or NFL, if he hurts the overall locker room or culture, you know what I mean, you got to get rid of him. I mean, no matter what you gave up for him, at some point it's opportunity cost. You got to cut it. It's just going to get worse, and you got to move forward, without him. And it's a bad situation. They should have never got in the first place, the Raiders, I guess, in hindsight. But you got to get rid of him. And the Patriots' culture is so strong. They can. If he doesn't act right, they're going to get rid of him, and they just got to, wait for him to fall in line.
But wouldn't you also say that about the Steelers organization? Because until last year, it was never a soap opera, and it was a soap opera all last year. And can one player or two players have that big of an effect on a team like that?
Oh yeah.
I think the thing about it is we know what got out, and I think a lot of times you don't hear about, well, he held up the team playing because he was unhappy about something, or he did this, or he's been fined $100 or whatever. A lot of things don't get out. So I think when it finally came to a head last year with the knee, at first it was a knee, and then he didn't want to play. So then they kind of got rid of him. Then he goes to Oakland, and I think genuinely, Oakland was a fresh start for him. I think where it was wrong was when the fines came. And then, you got Drew Rosenhaus telling you, well, now your guaranteed money is gone. So I think in his mind to minds being, the showman, no, not showman, but the kind of guy he is, he's like, well, I'll take this to social media. What is this world as we live? It's a 15-minute world. So I know how to get this going. I'm going to get on social media. So, you got the team meeting you have with the captains where he's like this. You got the conversation with Gruden. And ultimately, he won. Which is crazy to think about.
Twice. He's won twice. He forced his way out of Pittsburgh. He forced his way out of it.
But this is the world we live in. This is today's NFL, today's college football. It's no different from one of our guys, going crazy and then talking about, well, the coaches tell me this and taping a conversation with us. And you think, well, it's always, and Carl would tell you, the locker room is the locker room.
Yes.
What happens in the locker room
That's a
stays
sacred.
in the locker room.
That's a sacred place. So I've had conversation after conversation around this topic. If I'm a player, I want to be all about getting my money. I want to make that money. I can personally judge right or wrong where I rank in NFL as a corner. I can make that case. I'm 1, I'm 5, I'm 30. I want the money that fits where I put myself. Okay, I'm good with that. I also now understand management's role. I'm old enough to look at it and say, well, you know what? At the end of the day, I got to do my thing and what's best for my organization. Throw those things aside. My question then becomes, if the NFL, if collegiate sports, if athletes are meant to be, like it or not, some form of a role model, what does this look like? Like if I'm a decent rookie that's playing pretty good right now, under a 4 or 5 year contract, and I'm doing pretty good, I'm looking at that model and saying, okay, well next year, if I play well, then I'm gonna do well. I'm gonna create that whole dynamic. If I'm a college player and I'm looking at that guy, Quincy's not gonna let me play. Okay, I'm gonna go somewhere else, or I'm gonna disrupt the whole process. What does this do for sports and what sports was supposed to be? I don't know if I want to say it is about so much money, but it seems so individualized now that I don't care about my coach. I don't care about my position coach. All I want is the money. Right. What does this do for the rest of the athletes?
Well, I think it's almost becoming NBA-ish, where I'm with John, I'm with you, let's go win a championship.
Yeah.
And the NFL sees LeBron and those guys, super teams, or Anthony Davis, well, I'm going to sit out, and I'm going to get to the Lakers regardless. And the guys know that they have the power. And before, when I was in the league, I was going to be late and get fined $20,000.
No.
These guys don't care about that no more.
Right.
Because in the end, like you said, I'm going to get my money. Say they were talking about Saquon Barkley. Well, he's better than Ezekiel. So what's he gonna do when it's time for a contract?
Yeah,
he's already seen the model.
How are you gonna tell him now?
He's seen the model. So I think, like I said, the world we live in, it's a fast-paced world. I mean, he can say, "I'm not playing until you guys renew me now." If you will, and to be honest with you, and it's sad, but. In the end, I'm glad I'm in college football. I don't got to deal with all that. I don't got to deal with all the crazy. These kids, we got. There's good guys out there, and they see that. But then it's also a time for we can educate our kids that what, Antonio Brown might get away with that, but you're not.
Right.
I think there's always a way to spin it.
But do we not think that it is trickling down into high school athletes up and leaving schools because they're not playing, or coach yells at them, they want to leave, parents want to move them. Moving for what?
Yeah.
Like what are you moving for? What are you trying to get to?
A scholarship or something.
Yeah, if you're trying to get to a
Let me ask
scholarship.
you guys this: is the public perception of what he's doing? It's negative, right?
It's very
I think it's very
So
negative.
to me, when you said role model, that it's looked at as being, it's frowned upon. Now, it's getting a lot of attention, so there are people that are going to emulate it. But I think for the most part, these kids are looking at me like, that guy's kind of a jerk.
But I don't know. But here's the thing: I don't know if I'm sitting back as an athlete trying to make my way through.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that I'm looking at that and seeing that as who won. He's in New England now. He's got a chance for the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Super Bowl and the Hall of Fame.
He had a chance to be in the Hall of Fame in Pittsburgh, and I'm leaving with that. I'm leaving with that. So we're going to take a commercial break. We'll be right back.
Funding for West Virginia Sports Connection provided by West Virginia State University, The Barnes Agency, Spriggs Distributing, Tony the Tailor, West Virginia's finest men's store, Paul Corey, CPA and Associates, Hendrickson and Long.
It's fall here at Tony the Tailor. No one in the Mid-Atlantic does men's clothing like Tony the Tailor. Best selection of quality sportswear from Johnny O, Brax, and Ledbury. Huge shoe department featuring Cole Haan and DiBianco. Jackets and suits from Hickey Freeman, Samuelson, and Talia. And, of course, free alterations by Master Tailors. Tony the Tailor, 822 Virginia Street, downtown Charleston, or online at bestmastertailor.com.
Let's start with Marshall. Marshall is 1-1 right now. Right? Nice win first week. and go up to Boise State, nationally televised game against a ranked opponent, and I thought gave a very good accounting of themselves.
Yeah.
I think they played great defense. I think we all talk about. I know these are some offensive guys here, but defense wins championships, and I think if they're able to play that type of defense, control that type of an offense, I think going forward with that defense, they'll find some offense and offense enough to win.
I mean, they hung 34 points, Boise State did, on Florida State, and they could only get 14. They were pretty much shut out in the first half, with the exception of the last few seconds of the first half. And honestly, I thought there was a pass interference penalty where Marshall should have been up 14-0. But, there's tons of missed calls everywhere.
Let's be honest, Boise State's been on the map for years now.
Yeah.
They're getting quality kids. They get quality kids from California. They get kids from Texas. They nationally recruit. And their program is they are there. They are the TCUs and all that stuff. So I mean, if they were in the Big 12, they compete in the Big 12. They're in Pac-12. Whatever conference they're in, they're going to compete. So I look at it as a positive. When you're Marshall, like if I'm ever a head coach, I want to schedule a game early. I want to know about my team. Yeah. And you find about what your team is on the road. Can we go into a hostile environment? Shut them down? Can we play good defense? Can we score points? Can we, have some turnovers and come back, do adversity? So heads off to Doc. Doc's never ducked anybody. They've always scheduled well. So I think it's great measuring stick for them because I don't think they'll play another team as talented in the Conference USA.
I agree with that. They're not saying they're going to win them all,
right?
But I don't think there's going to be any better team the rest of this season that they'll play.
Right.
Yeah, and that quarterback's pretty good, Marshall's quarterback. I mean, he can play. To go on the road, 600, 800 miles away, in an incredible environment, to be able to pull that win out, that'd be a special win.
Yeah.
Like you said, I think they did a great job. And think about what the D coordinator did an incredible job seeing what they did against Florida State, that freshman quarterback, and had him rattled at Boise. I watched more of that game on Friday night. I actually had some time to watch it and thought Marshall just played hard. Special teams were good. I mean, it looked like a good football program. They're going to win a lot of games this year.
Very solid performance. And I thought it was a little bit ironic, and they talked about it before. Marshall's always, it's the highlight reel, right? Their offense is always great, but it's their defense that I was so impressed with. That's a tough team.
Yeah.
That's a tough team. To hold them to 14.
Yeah.
That was amazing. I look for some really good things from Marshall this year.
Yeah.
That'll make you happy.
Oh, definitely, And then I'll say this to the team up north, that there might, I can't really say it out loud. My concern is, I like Neil Brown. I liked him from the moment he said he wanted to recruit West Virginia, okay? However difficult that may be. And I feel like, and you know this, I know this, when you change a program, when you come in and try to put your stamp on a program, it takes time.
Yeah.
And my concern has always been with West Virginia is the fan base. Great fan base, but are they ever patient enough to give the new coach a chance to go through the bumps and the bruises that happen when you change? And I'm thinking we'll start hearing, in a year or so or halfway through the season, if things are not going well, we'll start hearing those things. Oh, we need to get rid of them. How does that then affect West Virginia going forward? Because they did not look good.
I think, as a head coach, it takes 4 to 5 years to build your program the right way and get the culture where you want it to be. But part of your job is to get there, to make sure that that you're not only you're winning more games, and improving, showing improvement, but you got to win the court of public opinion with the fan base. You got to get out in the community. You got to earn that a little bit. And I think Neil Brown's going to do all those things. I think there's going to be chatter when you lose, but he's running a marathon right now, not a sprint, and you can see it in his press conferences. He's not. He
didn't duck him.
Yeah, he ain't ducking him.
He's not ducking.
And he's just trying. He talked about improving the second half, and he knew that was going to be a tough win.
Yeah.
There was probably not much of a chance for them to win, and I think he's really trying to build, a program, and you can kind of see that it's the marathon, not the sprint kind of thing out of him.
I'm just curious though. You can see that. I know how that works. Quincy knows how that works. But can the fan, the WVU fan, find that? Because they hear us.
Yeah.
Everybody knows it.
Yeah.
We'll say it all day long. It'll be everywhere. But the fan that's sitting back in Adelphia's watching the game on TV, man, we need to get rid of him. He's, it's just terrible. And I just don't know, like, that scares me.
But I think where he will win that kind of public opinion is the way Dana left. So he kind of has not an out, but I think a lot of people are saying, and I've seen so you see the message boards. Well, Dana left them nothing, or Dana left to this. So he kind of, I think this year, I think fans are going to be a little bit, all right. Well, if it's 4 wins, if it's 5 wins, okay, Dana did that. There's still the heart, the hard feelings there. But like you said, going forward, the kids you recruit, the kids you bring in there, that now year 2, year 3. That's where that's where the chatter can come back up, and you'll see people saying, well, those guys aren't there no more. So what's going on? So I think this first year, maybe even some into next year, because I think they open up with Florida State next year. Yeah. So it's never going to get easy. You're in a great football conference anyways, but I think he knows where he needs to be, which is the main thing. Where we need to go. We need what kind of kids we got to get here to get there. They have great staff. They let us go up there for 2 or 3 days, hang out with them and learn some stuff from them. So I'm always going to be behind them regardless. And even if they're 0-10, I'm going to still be thinking, well, we're going to win the next one.
Right.
So just because I'm built like that. Now, your more WU fans might not think that way, but the majority of the guys know in their heart, hey, it might be a rough year. And they're kind of already bracing themselves for that.
Is it? And Tracy, I'm going to ask you this: like, is it different from we all know that kind of stuff, and because once you get into the coaching stuff, you realize man, I need time, I need some more money, I need all this. You can see what you need to put the pieces, but from the fan on the other side of that, do you care about the pieces? Do you care about I got to go talk to the AD. I got to get this guy signed. Do you care about any of that, or do you want to see the win at the end of the day?
I think, and I might get in a little trouble here, which I'm used to doing anyway. I think the educated fan sees that, acknowledges that. But I'm also in the profession that I'm at, and watching the game Saturday, man, this place emptied out because after the second quarter, things went south real quick. And people, you heard grumblings already. 2 games, you hear grumblings already. And so I think when you sit back and you look at it from a fan's perspective and you realize, if you were expecting Will Greer and you were expecting Jennings and all those guys from last year, if you were expecting that to continue, you're just not being realistic. They are not there. Right. They're not there. So I think from the fans' perspective, then some get it, some don't. Yeah. With that said, we're going to have to close this show out. So thanks for watching West Virginia Sports Connection. You can check us out on Facebook, on Apple iTunes, and statewide on PBS's West Virginia channel. We'll see you next time.